Hello friends, welcome to History by Genius channel. Today we will discuss our SABHA and SAMITI, the two democratic institutions of the Vedic times. We study democratic institutions in the country since the Vedic period. In the Vedic literature, we find mention of three words, SABHA, SAMITI and SABHA. These were the units representing the people in that period. Rajan was the chief officer of the Sabha and Samiti. However, scholars are not unanimous regarding the nature of these institutions. As Hilbrand, he says that Samiti was an organization while Sabha was the place where the meetings of the Samiti were held. Zimmer is of the view that Samiti was the National Assembly of the common people while Sabha was a general assembly of the elders of the village. Dr. K.P. Jaiswal also goes with this theory. Professor A.B. Keith writes that Samiti was a meeting of the masses for the business of the whole caste, while Sabha was the place where the members of the Samiti held social meetings. And Ludwig says that Samiti was an organization of the entire population of the tribe, while only the elders of the village were members of the Sabha. Dr. N. Ghosh, Dr. R.C. Majumdar, Dr. R.S. Tripathi and many more writers, they support the theory given by Ludwig. So now we will study the functions of the Samiti. The Samiti used to undertake a variety of activities. The king himself used to participate in the meetings of the Samiti. This practice continued as long as the Samiti was in existence. The members of the committee, the members of the Samiti used to discuss the problems related to their area. The members participated in the discussion with great enthusiasm. This is alluded to in a hymn of the Atharva Veda when a prayer is offered to it, let not the opponents succeed in this discussion. Those who argue against these arguments make them powerless. Similarly, while praying to Indra, a member says, O Indra, who is against us, defeat him with reason. Encourage us with your power. Make me the best in debate. Thus it can be said that debate and discussion had special importance in the working of the Samiti. The new member was expected to perform well in these organizations. At times, the debate would escalate to such an extent that members of different parties resorted to violence. This is alluded to in a hymn of the Rig Veda, where it is prayed that the deliberations of the Samiti should be peaceful, that its members should be agreeable to one another, and that their relations should be cordial. An officer named Ishnan presided over the discussions of the committee. He had unlimited powers. The unit of Samiti was Gram, and its members were very learned ones and efficient in running the administrative system. They enjoyed many privileges and held high status in the society. The Samiti performed a variety of functions, political, non-political and religious. In the post-Vedic period, Samiti used to discuss various philosophical questions as well. When a person after completing his education claimed to have full knowledge of philosophy, he used to appear before the members of the Samiti and had to answer the questions put to him by them. Thus, it can be said to be an assembly of scholars which used to test the knowledge of educated people. The other important work of the Samiti was in the field of religion. Hymns were chanted in praise of the deities and offerings were made to them by organizing yajnas. The main purpose of the prayer was that there should be no disputes during the meetings of the Samiti and that all the decisions should be taken unanimously. Now, Dr. Bandopadhyay, he is of the opinion that the Samiti performed military work also. Dr. Ramcharan Sharma, on the basis of Atharva Veda, states that the Samiti was like a tribal military unit, that is the Gram, whose collection was called a Sangram. The role of the Samiti in the political sphere was also very important. There are indications that the king was appointed by the Samiti itself. It was the duty of the king to attend the meetings. He also guided the activities of the Samiti. It would not be wrong to say that Samiti was a very important asset to the king. Its importance can also be seen in the fact that in early Vedic polity, the king was not considered to exist without the Samiti. It was the main prop without which, as Dr. Ramcharan Sharma writes, without which the existence of royal power could not be conceived. And after coronation, the chief priest would place the king on the throne and inspire the Samiti to remain loyal to him. But if the king neglected the Brahman and destroyed their cattle, the Brahman would curse him. At one place in the Shatpath Brahmana, it is mentioned that if a Kshatriya, that is the king, makes a grant of land to someone without the approval of the wish, actually, wish consisted of a number of villages because the lowest unit in the Aryan political setup was a gram, that's a village, and many villages made a wish. So this is a wish which was the political unit higher than the village. So the Shatpath Brahman writes that if a Kshatriya makes a grant of land to someone without the approval of the wish, it will be treated as justified. However, Dr. Ghoshal believes in this context that it was as according to the tradition of the time. Though the Samiti was not mentioned in it, when the tribesmen met in the meetings of the Samiti, this grant was certainly discussed and was approved of. Hymns of the Rig Veda and Atharva Veda call for unity of mind and spirit among the members of the Samiti. But it is clear that the decisions of the Samiti were taken only after discussion. The level of debate in the Samiti used to be very high. Members participated in discussions with full confidence and authority. They presented their views in such a way that their intellectual prowess was evident. Dr. Ramcharan Sharma is of the opinion that during the debates, the speaker wanted to prove himself brilliant, not to be contradicted in the Samiti. So next, we will discuss about the functions of the Sabha. The Sabha was the second representative body of the people. As Sabha and Samiti are referred to as the two daughters of Prajapati in the Atharva Veda, So it is considered to be the sister of Samiti. Here the question arises that who organized the Sabha? On the basis of Sabha Vipra, it can be said that when it was formed to solve the administrative problems, it was an organization of selected people, which included the Brahmanas and senior members. Dr. R. S. Sharma is of the opinion that the ancient Sabhas were based on a lineage. Like any ancient assembly, it was not aware of its functions, and its members mostly discussed animal husbandry or gambling or performing prayers and yajnas. So it is possible that when the developed classes were not established and the distinction between rich and poor did not develop and the post of chairman was not fixed, it would have remained an ancestral council. But when social inequalities and social classes developed and the king emerged as a dominant force in the political system, he established contacts with influential people in the society whose advice had an impact on the entire nation. So, the Rig Veda also mentions female members, but it indicates that initially women could also become members of the Sabha, but in the post later Vedic period, this tradition was banned and only men could become its members. The Sabha had its own president who was called the Sabhapati. Dr. K.P. Jaiswal refers to the Sabha as the national judiciary. A hymn in the Rig Veda describes how such a person was happy after being absolved of guilt by the Sabha. In some hymns of the Atharva Veda, it is described as a political institution. The members of the Sabha were as influential as the Rajan, and they too received a portion of the taxes due to the king. According to Dr. Altekar, the possibility cannot be ruled out that the assembly may have been like the king's council of ministers, but on the basis of the available sources, it can be concluded that the Sabha was a village organization where its members used to gather to discuss social and political issues. Now, the members of the Sabha were people of high moral conduct and justice. In post-Vedic literature, it is not described as a village institution but as a king's court. Many kings used to participate in their meetings, and at one place in the Jatakas it is said that assembly in which there are no good people is not a good assembly. People who do not talk about religion are not good people. Those who rise above their personal feelings and speak for justice are called good people. So the early literature of this period does not give importance to the political form of the Sabha. At one place in the Rig Veda, it is referred to as a gambling assembly. Dr. Ramcharan Sharma believes that this is natural as the primitive people did not recognize any distinction between sports, politics and religion. The Sabha used to discuss issues relating to animal husbandry, as animal husbandry was the main means of livelihood of common people. Religious activities were not neglected in the Sabha. Whenever the members of the Sabha gathered, they prayed to Indra and performed yajna for the protection of the Sabha and its members. But it is not appropriate to say that the Sabha did not perform political and administrative activities. There are many references in the Vedic literature in which the judicial functions of the Sabha are discussed. In the Rig Veda, it is described as an institution where it exonerates a person from guilt and removes the stain on him. Justice has been considered as a form of religion in the Sabha. So, judicial matters were decided by an officer who was called Sabhasad. Probably more sittings were held in the Sabha on matters related to justice rather than on general discussions. It is also believed that the judicial affairs of the Sabha were not handled by the entire assembly but only by a standing committee. The decisions of the Sabha were binding on all, no matter how rich or influential a person was. The king also used to participate in the meetings of the Sabha. In administrative matters, he gave special importance to the council's advice. The reason was that he considered the advice of the Sabha to be of supreme importance and could not possibly do without the support of its members. The members participated enthusiastically in the discussions. Prayers were made for the mutual support among the members, and the proposals which were passed by the majority in the Sabha were applicable to all. Now, Sabha and Samiti enjoyed high prestige in the Vedic period because they are called the two daughters of Prajapati. People used to give them divine status. Their status was very high in the Rigvedic period, and their organization was based on democratic structure, and decisions were also taken on the basis of majority. These institutions had many powers. They used to help Rajan in running the government and also restrained him from misusing his powers. Even when a new king ascended the throne, its acceptance was necessary by the members of the Sabha and Samiti. However, in the post-Vedic period, there was a great difference in their position. The reason for this was, as Dr. Ramashankar Tripathi writes, that the period saw the establishment of large states, which made it difficult for the members of these bodies to hold their meetings. Consequently, their own power to check the powers of the ruler also started reducing. Apart from this, the Brahmins also came very close to the king due to their religious influence and began to exert their influence over him. So, this was the discussion on Sabha and Samiti. The questions which can be asked in the university have been put on the short section, and if you have any queries, you can go to the comment box. You can also write at genius.history25@gmail.com, and I will like you to please share the channel in your circle with your friends, like it and subscribe to it. Thank you very much.